Welcome to episode 273 of The Center Ring, presented by Alt. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we have Yikes of the Week, our first impressions of Call of Duty Cold War multiplayer as the alpha, quote-unquote alpha, dropped this weekend. So we got a chance to play that. And also a brand new spankin' segment. Well, I already forgot the name of it. Sift. But I forgot what it stood for.
Stole it from Twitter.
Oh, yes. It's a fresh idea. Within 5 minutes, we came up with that. Stole it from Twitter. So we'll also do that. But first, let me tell you about the show's sponsor, Alt Esports. They are the leading #1 apparel company in all of esports. They are partnered officially with the Call of Duty League, the Overwatch League, and yours truly, the Center Ring, because, you know, those three make sense to be partnered with. They just dropped the Dallas Empire Championship t-shirt, and might I say, beautiful. Go check it out, altesports.com. If you are a Dallas Empire fan, I think it's a must purchase. It's a callback to the vintage style championship t-shirt. It's got the ring on there. It's got their, I guess, records or whatever on the back, whatever you want to call it. Very cool. So check that out, altesports.com, and tell them the Center Ring sent you.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. This is episode 273, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, September 20th, 2020. The time is 8:47 p.m. Central Time. Go check us out on Twitter if you're not already, at The Center Ring. Our Discord link is in the descriptions. Feel free to join the conversation there. And everything else you might need. Drop AMA questions in Discord or our DMs. A friendly reminder, the last Thursday show of every month, we are doing AMAs. So not this week, but next week, we're gathering questions. So we already have a handful that we want to get to. So hit that up. If you have any questions you want to ask us about anything, doesn't have to just be esports related. We are a well of knowledge. So go ahead and feel free to ask us. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports. And as usual, my best friend, my brown friend, my celebrating a Cowboys victory that they probably shouldn't have had, but hey, a W's a W. It's a nooch.
Fun fact for you, Tim. With that Cowboys victory today, teams that had previously scored 39 points with 0 turnovers were 440-0 prior to the Cowboys game today. You know what? It was ugly. I was cursing them out by halftime. I was about to give up going into the fourth quarter. Man, ugly win, but we will take it. Like, that was a needed victory, because after a game like that, you turn the ball over that many times. I mean, you're just looking at yourself in the face and wondering what kind of season you're about to have. And damn, that was crazy.
I have another fun fact for you.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions become the first team in NFL history to lose 4 straight games in which they had a double-digit lead. This is also their 11th straight loss.
11th straight loss?
Obviously going back
Dating
from
back to last season. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Wow. It's been a little bit of a rough stretch.
Yeah,
there.
last season they were supposed to make the playoffs and then lost 6 in a row, and c'est la vie. It's been rough. Sadly, though, nothing that I haven't been through as a Lions fan. But my bets are doing quite well today. Quite
You
well.
bet against the Lions?
I did an over on the Lions game.
Okay.
I
Okay.
normally don't like bet the line on a Lions game. It's just too much emotion involved. But I normally bet the over or under, which for the Lions it's normally an over because they'll get you there.
Yeah.
They can score. That's normally not the issue. It's all the other stuff in between. But I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good on the betting side. So, it's bittersweet as a football fan when your team loses. But when they lose and you get money, it helps a little bit.
I realized how important the co-captain chair is just a few minutes ago. On this lovely ship of yours. Come up with the segment 5 minutes prior to the show, and boom, gone.
Well,
Forgot
because
what it was
I wrote
already.
it down as SIFT, and then I was like, wait, what did that stand for? I forgot. I got allergies are bad, man. I'm hyped up on medicine. You know how it goes. Yes. So we have a brand new segment today. Stole it from Twitter, right?
That's
stole it from Twitter, where we take trending things going on Twitter and then we will tweak it for our well-being on the show. So we'll get to that later, though. Let's get into some Yikes of the week right now as we go through some stories that just made us go yikes over the week. So, Anuj, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, mine's coming from the world of COD, but it's teetering. It's teetering on a yikes. It shows that this was a pretty good week. You guys did well. Didn't have any crazy F-ups, no bad partnerships. Like COD season's over, so there's not a lot going on there other than free agency. This comes from the world of free agency. Apathy vouches for Parasite via Twitter, sends out this lovely tweet supporting him, saying he should be on a team, which, hey, skill-wise, probably right. Parasite's a world champion. He's played at the highest level. He's very close with his teammates, maybe a little too close with his teammates' girlfriends. But, I just laugh because I think
his
to myself,
resume
like,
speaks for itself. It's his references that will get him.
That's perfect. No, really, it's the damn truth, and it's funny because I think to myself, like, Apathy, you're a free agent. You should try and go in as like,
yeah, why don't you hit him up?
This is my guy. Why don't y'all
This
make
is my
this happen?
guy. Like he world champion over here. Like, why don't you hit him up? Start up a little duo squad or something. Come as a package
He's
deal.
happily married. Doesn't want to risk it. Doesn't want to risk it. Again, this is more in joking. Like, obviously, if Parasite could get an opportunity on a team, I'd be very curious to see how you do. He's been looking for a top team for a while. It kind of reminds me of Doug a little bit, like FaZe Clan. It'd be interesting to see these guys get a chance, but there's really none. I mean, if you think about it, right? Like this year, especially with the reduction in available spots, we're going to see a lot of people on the free agent market. I mean, like if you were an amateur looking to get moved up this year because you played outstanding in amateurs, like good luck. There's like no chance this year. You're going to have to wait for an expansion year.
And
more than one team.
It's even more of a long shot for Parasite to find a squad because A, his history, right? But B, he didn't play all last year. I mean, hell, he got kicked off a challenger team. So we've already heard from guys like Clay where the stigma in the pro scene for COD is so bad that when you're benched or, let go, I'll say that with the asterisks of this year's different because they had to let people go, right? Because they went from 5 to 4. So it's a tad different this year. But Clay was saying, like, during the season, it is so hard for a pro. Like, the stigma of when you're dropped is really bad. It's almost just like, well, if they don't want you, why would we want you? And so they'd rather go for like a younger new talent, which we've seen in COD work out extremely well. A la Simp last year, Dallas this year, right? Going with the young guy is not a risk, pretty much. So
no, it is. Yeah, there's going to be a ton of talent on the free agent market this year. So, like I said, if you're trying to move up, it's just this is not the year. It's not going to happen.
They won't try to sleep with your girlfriend, like Parasite. What an appropriate name. You think he's thought about changing his name? Like, not only are you a scumbag, but your name is Parasite. Like, bud, maybe you need just a rebrand.
Just a reevaluation of things here.
Just rebrand yourself at this point. Esports is a beautiful thing like that. You could rebrand, and it would be a little bit until people find out, anyways. But yeah, good luck. Good luck to Parasite. At least you have Apathy's support. My yikes of the week comes from the land of Rainbow Six Siege, which this might be a debut. I don't think we normally have Rainbow Six in a yikes of the week category. But this, nonetheless, is their yikes of the week, as one of the top well-known pros for G2, Pengu, has been a little outspoken, stating in his recent Twitch stream, and I quote, "If the game state stays like this, my retirement is coming after the upcoming 6 Invitational." And then he goes on to continue saying that he would not recommend the game in its current state to anyone.
Do you know what it is in particular that he is upset about?
So yes, I do. So the game, and this has been like this for a while now. And I know we speak highly of Rainbow, and they deserve it, right? From
as an esports side,
the league and the developers, whoever makes the call there, do a very good job of it. From a game side, though, there has been a lot of little bugs here and there that, whether it be, we released a new map or people, and then this guy's overpowered, this guy needs to be balanced. Oh, well, with this equipment, there's a bug doing that. Rainbow is not the easiest
pinging system in the game right now, I believe, too, right?
Yeah, Rainbow is not the easiest game to wipe out bugs. It's just, unfortunately, the way it is, how you can pretty much destroy every wall on a map and things like that, it leads to a lot of bugs. It leads the door open to a lot of bugs, and that's the case. Now, what I also know the Rainbow community is sort of salty about is what was the recent BR that they released?
Hyperscape or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We've clearly play it all the time. That had a lot of the features, just not gameplay wise, but just quality of life features that people in Rainbow have been asking forever. And it's made by the same people.
BR for it.
Right.
Form.
So it's okay, we've been asking for you to do this in Rainbow forever, and then you go and do it in a different game. So that didn't sit well with them either. So it's just, I think from that standpoint, the game's been out for a while now. I think Pengu, from a personal standpoint, he's been on the fence. Rumor is that he's been talking about leaving for a while. He's wanted to come play in NA for a little bit, but that never happened. And now it's, kind of not even possible.
You never want one of your best players, or when I say best, one of your most high-profile players trashing your game, right? It's a bad look. In any situation, there's no way to spin it. It's just a bad look.
Yeah.
And so, for him, you don't want him to burn bridges on his way out, right? You would kind of hope he leaves in good standing, because these people should be celebrated when it's all said and done, what he's done for the game from a popularity standpoint. But for him to feel this way, you take it a little bit more, right, than just the average Joe Schmo coming out and talking trash about the game. He's been at the top level, so his words are a little bit more meaningful in that sense. And so you do hope that they, correct some of the issues. And I know, again, the pinging system that just came out was a big red flag, because people were able to abuse the crap out of it. So there's little things that we continuously see in the game that cause these frustrations, but they're all fixable.
It's all fixable.
Most of these
it's all
are
there.
Fixable issues.
Now, what's not fixable is, like I said, he's already been teetering on the side of retiring from Siege, and it probably doesn't help that he's looking at all the other guys switch over to Valorant, making top dollar with a developer that is going to treat the game right. Not saying Ubisoft isn't, but again, when one has best of both worlds, right? Valorant is a game that's constantly updated and changed for the better so far. Rainbow is debatable.
Look, Rainbow's not the only community that's upset about what Valorant's doing, right? There's a lot of communities out there, including our baby Counter-Strike, that, look, you're going to have to step it up. It's all across the board, right? It's not just Counter-Strike, even though we talk about that the most. Games like Rainbow and all of these guys, you have to start thinking about how to get to the next level here. You can't try and stay stale in the marketplace that we're in. Like Valorant is a threat to a lot of games. A lot of the player base is going to shift over to what's popular. And so, yeah, I mean, again, I understand his frustration. He's not the only one feeling it.
No. But like you said, never a good sign when your poster boy is talking smack. So we'll see what happens there, but I won't be surprised if, like I said, it's been a while now that Pengu has been on the fence. So we'll see what happens there.
Future Valorant Pro Pengu.
100%. Mark it down right now. You heard it here first on the center ring. Future Valorant Pro. So speaking of the future, we did get a little taste of the Cold War multiplayer this weekend as they dropped what they're calling an alpha. I always think it's cute when these AAA developers drop an open alpha. Like this is an alpha, for those who don't know, is supposed to be like the rawest form of your game before you really get the kinks worked out. An alpha is not, hey, everyone can download this and play it and you're good. And oh, by the way, our game is also coming out in like 3 weeks. Like that's not how
call it beta 1, beta 2 or something like that.
And alpha is a bit generous to say like, yeah, we've never tested this out until right now. Yeah, alpha, we'll figure this all out. But
I give them props at the same time on that though, because doing that's going to allow them to see a lot of tendencies, catch a lot of bugs.
Yeah,
there's already a ton that we'll dive into. But yeah, like I think whatever they want to call it, this was a good move on Treyarch's part. This was very different than how we saw Infinity Ward handle their game already, right? We already hear about a lot of upcoming changes and issues that we may have right now may even be gone by the time we actually play the next open beta here in just a few weeks.
Yeah. Now, disclaimer on all this. This was only on PlayStation, so it was only on the PS4. As far as I know, it might have been on Xbox too, but it was only on console.
Just PlayStation.
Just PlayStation. So Anuj and I did play it. The last time the only thing I play my PlayStation at the moment is for NHL. That is it. Like I have a couple single player games that I might hop on here and there, like Spider-Man, Last of Us, but for the most part, it's just NHL. I have not played a first-person shooter with a controller since Call of Duty World War II, which I think was the last one not on PC. So
yeah,
that will probably, disclaimer here. This is just coming from a normal perspective. Okay. Yeah, I could talk about how, I sucked, but to be honest, I didn't really even suck that bad because the auto aim is so ridiculous that it makes me look a little decent. So disclaimer there. Now, right off the bat though, I will say this, and you mentioned it as soon as we started playing. When this moves over to PC and the pros get to play this game on a PC with the higher refresh rates and just everything that, cleaning it up, they are going to be blown away.
They're going to perform so much better. I feel like we're just going to get a better game because I noticed it immediately. Like right when I got in, I was like, God, we were playing, Tim and I joined a 12v12 map initially because we wanted to try out the new ship map. And
I think Armada, if I'm not,
yeah,
whatever
it's called. But yeah, the ship map, the big ships.
Awesome map, by the way. What did I say? Did I lie when I say any game that has a battleship map on it is already a top 5 game?
Oh, very cool map.
But now that has 3 ships on it that you can jump from ship to ship to ship.
Diving in the water, getting in vehicles.
I'm not saying it's going to be competitive in esports because it won't be, but from a casual standpoint, run that 24/7. I want a 24/7 ship map playlist.
I like that ship map a lot more than the snow map.
Yeah.
That was for the big map that they allowed you to play. I don't know the names of these maps, but yeah, I mean, I noticed it right away. Like the 60 hertz, the graphics, it all just felt like I was playing on my old computer that I got rid of a couple years ago now. It just felt like I was playing on outdated equipment, like I was playing things on low settings compared to what I'm used to. And so that was the first thing that I thought of also is, man, we're going to get a better product than we've ever had before in Call of Duty League. just right away. Just I mean, because it didn't play bad. It's just it wasn't as good as you would want it to be. Just from
Right.
a console standpoint.
Yep. So there was the first thing that hopped out to me. I think overall, time to kill, it feels good. It is longer than what Modern Warfare was. I kind
I'm
of
okay
like
with that though.
me too, because that was one thing is when you played Modern Warfare for the first time. Like I remember playing the beta or whatever they called it for Modern Warfare, and I remember I got my first kill and laughed out loud on how fast. Because I remember they started you with the FAMAS in
Yeah.
Modern Warfare, and I laughed at how fast they died. Like it took you back.
The 150 HP or whatever they're doing for this, like it did feel good.
Yeah.
I didn't have an issue with it. Like I felt like it took the right amount of bullets. It just felt okay the way it was.
I will say this: it allows what is a very underrated thing that I think Modern Warfare was missing. It allows the turnaround kill. It allows for that clutch moment to where if someone's coming up from behind, you can turn around and get them, right? And to have that on a pro level, a casual level, it will create that hype.
Yeah.
So I liked that.
I like the time to kill. That was a big piece of it. Like I think that felt good.
Yep. Overall, map seemed okay. A little, they're 6v6, so it's hard to judge, but it seemed okay.
I liked them. I really did. Like I thought I think Moscow is going to be a really fun map to watch on a competitive level, especially 4v4. They have some like good wide lanes on there. I love the lanes that we saw. Like it was a lot more traditional to Call of Duty than kind of what we saw this past year with Modern Warfare. Is you could very clearly and see distinct 3 lanes on most of these maps. Moscow I thought was really good. I think Satellite is going to be a really fun map to watch. I know you didn't get to play it too much, but I thought Satellite was a really good map. Miami, I have some concerns about just because of the openness of the middle of the map. But again, it does at least have the proper 3 lanes, but they're really spread out. So I'm very curious to see how, like, Miami looks like a 5v5 map instead of a 4v4 map to me on how it's currently laid out. But again, I really liked them. I thought the maps were good, and maybe that's just me grading it, Tim, to like Modern Warfare maps. I did not like any of the Modern Warfare maps.
Doesn't take a lot to... Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't take a lot to beat a Modern Warfare map.
It doesn't, but it was important that they felt better, not just like, oh yeah, they're kind of a little better, I guess. I actually like the maps. Like I think they'll be good in 4v4. Again, 6v6 is different. Like what we're playing is not what
a bit chaotic.
Pros will be playing.
But
yeah,
again,
a little bit more chaotic in areas.
I will make the disclaimer of the alpha's only 6v6. So, I won't judge a map being like, oh, people were everywhere and I was getting shot from every angle. Well, it's a 6v6 on a map that should have been played 4v4. So take that with a grain of salt. Overall, visually, I thought the game looked really good. I know going into it, people's main concern was, oh, this looks like Battlefield, and oh, it looks like the style of Battlefield. I don't know what that necessarily means. Like, do you mean it looks realistic? Yeah, the maps look realistic. I don't know what you mean by that, because it looked good.
The coloring I thought was nice. It wasn't so like grayed out like we've seen with Modern Warfare. Like it's all kind of that darker tint across like all maps, it feels like, for the most part in Modern Warfare, except for maybe Piccadilly. But like visually it looked appealing. Like the game looked appealing. I thought it played well in that sense.
Yeah,
it looked good. Like the color palette looked good that they used. Like it looked nice.
Yeah, thought it looked fine. Little things that I noticed. One thing is that the sniper glare, the sniper lens flare, whatever you wanted to call it, in Modern Warfare, when there was a sniper scoped in, it was like the sun was looking at you. It was very obvious to see a sniper. Now, you said they had it. To me, it's almost non-existent on this one. Could have been just that I was playing on a 65-inch TV, so I actually had to look around because it's on my PlayStation. It's not as compact, but it definitely is not like what it was in Modern Warfare, which is good.
Like
I like that.
In your face.
Yes, yeah, I like a sniper being more stealthy. Let the sniper snipe. You shouldn't be able just to see a sniper.
we're gonna see a major nerf when it comes to snipers. They're like so easy to use right now.
Yeah.
I like it actually. Again, thinking of it in a pro level because I feel like we would see it used a lot more often. You would see a sniper on each team, and I like that. I enjoy that gameplay. But right now, like even in like casual games, sniping is way too easy. Everybody's running one of the 12v12 maps. Like you're going to see a tweak. They've announced it. There's going to be a nerf incoming for it. The way that it was like the quick scoping felt so good. Like really felt like old school COD when it came to quick scoping. But again, we'll see what that actually ends up being because that will be different than what people were playing this weekend.
A little few things here. I did notice people dolphin diving. I even noticed myself back on, playing on the controller was doing like a lot more old school COD style moves, the jumping around corners every time you had a chance and things like that. Don't know if I like it, but it's there.
Yeah, like I think it was Yikes that posted something on Twitter or either retweeted something of people doing like some crazy dolphin dives. Like they could slide 10 plus feet, and the way that they were shooting up after was really crazy. So it looks like they brought, again, something that they've brought to the attention and why this was probably important for them to do now instead of trying to fix it like a week or
Yeah.
2 weeks before launch. But the movement in this game, it felt slower. Like I felt like I was running slower. Again, I don't know if that's partially because I'm also on console with a lower FOV. Like when you have a higher FOV, like we tend to play with on PC, you look like it's almost fisheye a little bit, but you look like you're moving faster. So that much I did feel like it was a little bit more clunky in movement, but it still felt fine. Like
Yeah.
it didn't feel bad. It just felt a little bit slower.
I chalked that up to console. Like the movement, like grenade throwing. I felt like I kept hitting every single wall in front of me. I don't know if that's the timing of how you throw nades in this game.
It's so slow. It's so slow.
So this is the thing. I can't remember the last game that I played where like when you throw a grenade, they go to like pull the tab. You know how you have to pull the pin out of the grenade?
Yeah.
I feel like the time it takes to pull the pin out of the grenade is the normal time in any other game to throw a nade. Like
it's really, really long.
And I didn't know if that's just because I was on a console, so I didn't like, I keep hitting the wall in front of me because I'm using a controller and I'm not good with it. But now that you said it's slow, maybe it wasn't in my head that like, no, something's
it's
off.
like an individual out there with a rotator cuff injury and tennis elbow at the same time trying to throw a nade.
It's
like it was so slow
like
and
you
unbearable.
Hit throw, and like a second later it will throw. Like you hit throw and
it didn't do that for your tacticals.
No,
it didn't do that
tacticals
for stuns and smokes. Those throw right away. It was just the grenade. It would pull the pin, and then he had to do this wind up, this Byron Leftwich, if y'all remember this guy, wind up throw, and it would be all the way behind him. And it was just, I didn't understand why that was like that. I'm really hoping that's also something that's addressed. If that's the biggest issue that ends up coming out of it, it's not the worst thing, but it did feel really bad. Yeah. Like I thought throwing a grenade felt really bad.
Yep. Okay. So I'm not crazy. I was chalking that up to me not being used to lining up an edge with a controller. But
it feels like it becomes much more of a tactical use when you have to throw a grenade rather than like a reactionary. Oh, there's people in there, chunk the grenade in that room real quick. Right. Now it's like you're more aiming for a lineup, trying to hit a very specific spot. Like it just doesn't feel right right now.
Yep. I will say this. It probably won't be an issue on the competitive side because GAs will be out the ass on this game. But if you are a fan of attachments, boy, let me tell you, already in the alpha, there was almost like, you know what, I'll just wait till the pros give me their layout, and then I'll copy the pros, because there is a lot of attachments.
I think like on average, guns have like 50 plus attachments that you can use right now. And, I wonder if they did this just to piss off the GA committee. Like, all right, go through and
Like,
figure out.
I was gonna say,
Thankfully,
whoever-
you get percentages on this game, which is a nice little change, right?
Yeah,
Like,
you
can truly see-
it's not just a bar. It says like, hey,
Yeah.
10% to the vertical recoil, things like that. But you're absolutely right. Whoever these pros are behind this shadowy figure of the GA committee, like they got their work cut out for them on this one, because there are attachments upon attachments on attachments. It is, and there's even like I don't know what they call them, perks. Is that the one with the cards? Like you have, and that will allow you to have 3 more attachments, so your gun can have 8 attachments.
The perks are like the, ninja and ghost.
Okay, so that's perks.
Stuff. And then there's that other wild
card, whatever you call it. I don't know. That will allow you to have like 8 attachments. So your gun,
that will already be GA. All 3 of those wild
walking
cards
around with
out.
your Glock. How you have your Glock has all those attachments. It's essentially that. It will be there will be, look, all I'm saying is if you played the alpha and you were like, man, I really like this setup, don't get comfortable. Do not get comfortable with anything in this game, because GAs are going to be out the ass.
For us, though, I'm excited because I like the ability to kind of mess around and tweak a gun that way. So, like the casual player, that's kind of cool to have, like, you're hopping into the Warzone version of it and you really have your weapons the way you want them. So it's kind of neat because it really allows you to tailor the guns to your playing style. This is only an issue on the pro level.
Now, that's a perfect segue into our next topic when it comes to casual and the pros and how we want to play and things like that. Because with this alpha, kick-started a old but new debate in the gaming world. And I feel like this has really only been an issue maybe in like the last 3 years, like really bad. And that is skill-based matchmaking. Now, even in the alpha, skill-based matchmaking is there, and it's very real and very evident. And it has a lot of the pros complaining about it, casuals complaining, and I feel like we're creating like our own civil war within the gaming community, because it's like split down the middle. Some people think skill-based matchmaking is the end of the world. Some people think that if you think that it's the end of the world, you're the biggest bitch out there, and like, no, what do you mean you don't want to go pro? Like, you always try to be better and always should do skill-based matchmaking. So I thought maybe we can take, some time on this show to discuss kind of our opinions, and I would like to hear from our listeners too. Like if you are pro skill-based matchmaking or things like that. So let us know in Discord. I won't lie to you, Anuj. I feel like, and maybe this is a cop-out, I see it both ways. I really do. Now, 10 years ago when I was 20 years old, I probably would have called you a bitch if you complained about skill-based matchmaking, and I would have been like, what are you talking about? You should always be a tryhard. Now that I'm 30 and I have time to play games 2 or 3 nights a week, I totally see why people just want to chill and not always try hard. So I see it from both ends of the spectrum.
I'll give you the solution and my thoughts on skill-based matchmaking. The solution to me is easy. You just do a rank system and a casual play system. And the casual play has no skill-based matchmaking whatsoever. It's truly just queue, join, play. And then the ranked has whatever ranking system you choose to use. I don't care. There's a ton of methods out there. Saw a lot of chatter about that too. I don't care. Whatever it is, just a ranking system for you to go through. I do not like skill-based matchmaking, though, because it does put you... it sounds so shitty to say it, but it does put you in a game where you really have to got to be on your A game every single game. Like, there is no casual. You don't want to mess around and try other guns as much because, look, no time to really practice this stuff and get used to it because people are just slamming you and they know the map so well. Even in the beta, we felt it. There was games where we started off and it was 44-14, and then all of a sudden all of the games were 15-12 or 11-9, and it's just a totally different game that you're kind of playing at that point. I just don't like it because I feel like you have to go hard 24/7, and that's not a fun way to relax and play a game for me. Is where I just, and if you're not playing that way, you're gonna get smashed.
As a 30-year-old, I am 100% on board with that now. I get it where people are like in their 20s and they're like, no way, man. I'm here to play. I want to win every single time. I also get the fact that there's like never a ranking system until 6 months after release. This doesn't help anything. If they had ranked day one, or hell, even within the first month, I think you could get away with it being like, hey, you want to try hard? Go play ranked, right? I also see it though from a casual, and I feel like people misconcept what skill-based matchmaking is there for. Some people think it's only to let the pros play with other pros, and that's not necessarily it. I think from a good side, it's keeping the pros away from the scrubs, right? But I also think of it from a standpoint of, I mean, in old Call of Duty games, I just remember, or in old games, that was just always a thing. Some games, you had a guy on your team that would drop 50. Some games, the other guy had a guy that would drop 50, and that's just how it worked. And, you know, you just had fun either way, right? I know, like, with us, this is the part of the issue with skill-based matchmaking, is even from a casual, non-ranked standpoint, okay, we want to play with our friends. Well, Anuj and I might just be a little bit more naturally gifted, as we could say, than some of our friends. They don't even want to play casually with us because they know in a casual, non-ranked game, they're going to play when they normally play solo and they can do better and it's not as stressful and whatever. They come play with us and they're like, dude, I'm going like 2-20. Like I can't play at the level, the hidden MMR that you guys are at. And so they don't even play with us. So I get it. From a casual standpoint, I would rather take the off chance of getting stuck with like a global elite on my team or whatever, you know, a high ranked player, than to constantly have to play people that, you know, are try-harding all the time.
The problem is without any sort of like transparency to how it's set up, it's always going to be an issue, right? Because it's all guess and check. Like we honestly don't even know. Like I saw this message, this long thread that I had read from a developer that was working for EA, and he's like, it's a lot worse than people actually think. Is like they give you an easy match sometimes in the middle to let you feel the joy of like being really OP, and then they put you on a long losing streak to make you kind of grind it out until you kind of feel that one easy victory again, you know? And it's like, so we don't really know how it's set up, and that doesn't help, right? Because then you just leave it open to interpretation, people saying stuff like that, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But like, it's believable that there's some formula here outside of truly putting the best skill groups together to make it a more, you know, rather the focus being like make it a more addictive experience, right? And so right now, the way it's set up, it just doesn't feel like a ton of fun. Like I said, when you're going against tryhards every single time, like they're
right. Well, like
if I'm in a game with noobs, great, I love it for that one game. The next game, there's probably going to be somebody in there that's way better than me, and like that's okay. Like you have to experience people that are way better than you, I think, to also strive to like be that good, right? If you're only playing shitty players the whole time, you don't really know like what the top end looks like. It's kind of neat to
but that's
get
what
that
you know, back to like that's what ranked is for, right? You go play ranked to play those people who want to compete and stuff like that. You know, you go play the CDL playlist to play like the pros and things like that. Now, if they want to make the CDL playlist skill based, but the other one not, like I get it, right? To me, it's very weird in COD where casual has always been the highest level of any type of casual shooter that I've ever played. Like casual COD is the most casual. Like, oh, you want a shotgun that shoots fire bullets? Sure. Oh, you want a dual D-Eagles and SMGs and shoot a rocket out of your butt? Don't care. Go for it. Like, it's just so casual. And then for them to be like, but we always want you to try to improve. It's like, it doesn't make sense. I want a ranked mode for when I want to try hard. And I want a casual mode for when I want to chill with my buddies who normally don't try hard. Or, and you know, try-harding isn't the right word. They don't care about learning all the angles and the map rotations and hard point rotations and all the smokes in Counter-Strike and all that.
They're not sweaties.
Yeah, they're not sweaties. You know, Anuj and I, we sweat. That's who we are. That's fine. but sometimes we just want to play with our non-sweaty friends. I also think it's funny when you got guys like Hex, who's like very outspoken, like, no, there should always be skill-based. Hex is the guy, God bless him. I think he's very smart and successful at what he does. But he's also that guy that will like quote Michael Jordan quotes all day and just thinking like those are the inspirations. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you come with him to a solution, or like if you want to complain to him about something, and he'll retort with like a Michael Jordan quote, and you're just like, I don't know how that fits in this situation, Hex. And he's just like, when Michael Jordan and didn't have Pippen, do you think he just wanted to quit? Do you think he would have rather have not had some skill-based matchmaking? Like, Hex, I don't know what you mean by, what do you mean? And it's like he's just constantly having The Last Dance documentary on loop in his office just to get fucking hyped and like quotes from Michael Jordan the whole time. And you're like, Hex, I don't know what you're talking about. All I wanted to do was drop a 50 bomb. That's it.
Again, like, the debate's never going to go away.
It's not.
Like,
it's
just never going to go
the
away. Like,
skill-based
there just needs to be
matchmaking, the
make
auto
a ranked system, make a casual system.
The
Done.
aim
We
assist
can
on
end the story.
controller, these are things that will never go away. I got into an argument on Twitter this week about the aim assist because, listen here, console people, don't have fun with your game. I'm not trying to say your game sucks on a console, but don't tell me aim assist isn't a thing. It is very real. There were times, I shit you not, I'm sitting here, I see a guy jump into the water on Armada, which I think that's the name of the map, but maybe I could be wrong. But on the ship map, I don't see him. He's underneath the water, Nuge. I don't see him. All of a sudden, my crosshairs are gravitating and following up and down, and I blast away and I kill him. Didn't see him at all. The aim assist literally picked him up.
Like, if you know how to like kind of get it on the sticks right, like, pulling the aim down sight at the right time, it pulls like it does. And it's look, I get it. It's supposed to do that. Like,
I don't
it's
think
meant to do it. They need it because of what they're playing on. The equipment is different.
Yeah.
It's the argument that when somebody says you have aim assist and you say you don't, that's a problem. Like, you do. It's there. Like, we feel it. I'm feeling it. It's happening right now.
Well, on a keyboard, you have so much more control with a mouse. That's not an argument. Like, I know I have more control. The point is you have less control and it's taking control for you. That's the argument. But again, that's one that you'll never win. So it's like
that's hard to judge this weekend of how like good the aim assist is until crossplay comes into play. The
difference between our generation and our parents' generations will be. I was always taught where at Thanksgiving, you don't talk about religion and you don't talk about politics. I'm going to raise my kids to where at Thanksgiving, you don't talk about aim assists and you don't talk about skill-based matchmaking. You don't bring it up, kids, because you're just going to upset everyone. Okay? Everyone's going to get in an argument. Just don't bring it up.
Our kids won't be talking about aim assist, Tim. They'll be on PC.
They're going to talk to like their cousins or some shit about it. My brother's kids, whenever they have them, be like, you play Xbox? Your aim assist. Like, you get them, son. You get them.
But overall, first impressions, I know it's like kind of getting probably a little too deep here. Overall, I enjoyed the game.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm more excited to play it now, than I was previously because I want it to be on PC. I want it to feel the way it should feel. I hope sniping stays close to the same. I love the SMGs. Like, there was so much to like about it. It's really I'm expecting a really good season with this game. Whether you're going to play it or not as a casual, I think from a CDL standpoint, the game already to me feels like it will be better from a competitive standpoint. So I'm excited for the game to release. We're going to hype in. We both pre-ordered. That's, done deal for us. Overall, I give it a good grade. If I was like B+, kind of grade right now, that can easily turn into like an A- or more based on what they fixed between now and the open beta.
And again, that's a B+ while we played on console. So could be completely different on PC. Also, one last note about skill-based matchmaking. If I could just make a point on why I don't like it.
Finish it off.
Update on our professional spell break career. We're going to dial it back a little bit. Not giving up on it, but we're just going to have to refigure it out, because that game is also one that, you play a few and it's all fun and dandy. And then, you win 3 in a row and all of a sudden they crank your skill-based matchmaking and break the handle off. And it's just, you're in like a pro league all of a sudden.
There's no longer console players in our lobbies. I'll tell you that much. Like, no longer a thing in our lobbies.
Like the other night we played Spellbreak. We won like 3 and we were like, you know what? This is a fun game. Like, it's very chill. It's just fun. It's not bad. Now we play and people are flying over and jumping on. I mean, you got to be like sniping them with your fireball and like teamwork. And it's just like, what happened?
Tim and I are having to look up loadouts now to stay competitive.
Right.
To make sure
it's
we're
like,
using,
what happened? What happened to my fun, casual wizard game? Like, why all of a sudden now do I have to like constantly like be on like the edge of my seat while playing this game? Sometimes I just like, it's 1:30 in the morning, guys. Can we just chill? Can we just
can we get a couple of like Switch players in here in this next lobby to make life
That's
a
how
little
skill-based matchmaking should work. It shouldn't be like every other one they give you a bad one. It should be like, all right, it's 2 a.m. where you're at. We'll throw you some easy ones. Like, you want to get on at prime time, we're going to throw you in with everyone, the good guys. But you're at 2 a.m., you have fun.
You should like have to put your age in as well. 35 and 2 a.m.
Yeah,
probably dealing with finally your kids are asleep.
Right, 30.
Let you have
I should make a profile, right, and say like, guys, I'm 30. I'm married with a child. Can you please understand? Like, yes, I'm okay at shooters still. I still have some muscle reflexes left, but can we just dial it back a little bit, please?
Just a touch.
Like, just a touch. Just let me have some fun. Give me this moment, all right? I convinced my wife to let me play this game one night a week. Give me that night. Give me age-based matchmaking, as Prong says in chat. That's what they need. Family. Where's your family playlist where dads can play? I need a gaming dad playlist. But all right, so there's that. First impressions of Cold War so far. 2 thumbs up. Can't wait to play it on PC though to get a proper feel for it. Now, time for our brand new segment brought to you by your mom. It is called Sift, aka stole it from Twitter. In like the last 48 hours, this trend has been going on Twitter where everyone's been saying, I grew up here, and then they'll put 4 pictures of games that they played as kids. And so we thought, you know what? Why don't we just have a chill conversation? Not necessarily esports, but obviously some of these will be geared towards competitiveness, and just talk some gaming from our youth. So Anuj, I know you kind of want to bring this up, so I'll let you kind of dictate how it goes.
Yeah, so we can honestly, I don't think there's any way to make it go. I think we have 4 key ones. We have some fun honorable mentions, some things that we like obviously are never going to forget, like those moments and our favorite times playing games versus things we grew up with. So maybe we just go back and forth and list off what would be one of our core 4 that we're thinking of, and then maybe we get into some of the extras after.
Yeah. I will say my first. So when I was younger, first off, we had like the NES, we had the NES and things like that. And when I was trying to think of mine, it would be like I would close my eyes and just think, okay, what game popped up, right? Think of gaming as a kid. What was the game that popped up in your head? And that was kind of how I was thinking. Vector Man on the Sega Genesis, to me, was always one of my favorite games growing up. I even bought it for the PC to play it, like the little Sega thing on Steam. I don't know, have you ever heard of Vector Man?
So that's what I've never even heard of this game.
So it was on the Sega Genesis, Sega exclusive too. I couldn't tell you what the storyline was, as most old games, like they didn't really do a good job of explaining you what the story was. I think it was like something in the lines of like Vector Man, it's like the Earth was falling apart or pollution. I don't know. But
so 2020.
Yeah, pretty much. It was predicting the future, but it was a platformer. Yes, Canada. The green ball. That's exactly how you would remember it. The green balls dude. He was like floating little spheres. I was back in the day, and even today, I'm a sucker for platformers. So I really kind of had to dial it back, because if not, I could have Vector Man, Sonic, Lion King platformer, the Aladdin platformer, anything
Dude,
that's
the
sick.
Lion King and Aladdin platformers, Disney had some tough games
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
Those were not like children games.
And you know what's funny is back then too, I remember being so young. We were so dumb as kids, you know? Like you just didn't know that you played the same 3 levels of a game probably 1,000 times because you just never saved it or you just didn't care.
Yeah.
Like I probably played the first level of The Lion King, I shit you not, probably 1,000 times. Because whatever. It's like I turned the game on, I'd start it, or I'd never save, or just as a kid, you're dumb. You don't know.
Aladdin was that way. We played so much Aladdin, and like that was such a damn hard game, and you get stuck in the same spots,
Yep.
and then you come back and have to
Those
just start all over.
Damn giraffes on Lion King. But
For
Vector Man,
me,
that's a number one.
yeah, again, crazy that's on the list because I've just never heard of the game.
Yep.
You know, I thought all of these 4 would be obvious ones
No,
that, you know,
shout out to the Vector Man homies out there. For those who know what I'm talking about, it's legit.
Hey, like the fact that someone in chat knew the game you were talking about, I'm impressed. So, I think my 4 are a little bit more like prime time in the sense of everybody has probably touched on these games if they're around my age. There was a game that led to this being one of the ones I grew up with, Age of Empires. I played that game so much, Tim, and I sucked at it so bad. Even till this day, I am so bad at Age of Empires, but we had a group of friends that religiously played it. You know, we would play threes where it would be like 2 of my buddies on my team would always make sure I'm somehow in the middle, or I had to send a villager to their base at the start of the game. So I had a way to stay alive. These games went sometimes 3, 4, 5 hours into the night. And that all stemmed, honestly, from Command and Conquer. So, like, Command and Conquer is maybe the one that I should have on there because it led me into that world of RTS. But, like, Age of Empires, I just played so much more. But those RTS games were some of the early, you know, competitive games that you got to play and kind of your first taste there. But, yeah, Age of Empires for me, man. I play that game so much.
Yeah. RTS, if I just had to throw out an RTS that I remember, I mean, you know, I try to limit it like to pre-13 years old, right? Because it's like games you grew up on. I don't remember the name of it. What was the one where you like combined? This might have been out of your wheelhouse because I think it was kind of more geared towards younger people. Like you combined animals together and you could have like a shark and a lobster.
Nope.
No?
No.
Man, it was legit. It was
No
so
idea.
fun. It was so fun. I forget what it was called, but it was fun. It was fun. That was like my first RTS that I remember.
Command and Conquer was the first game I ever did a LAN on.
Really?
And we had to bring all of our PCs together because the first one didn't have like online support, and so you were playing with your buddies like in your
My
living
first
room.
PC LAN. I mean, we did like Xbox LANs and shit all the time.
Outside of console.
Yeah.
gaming,
My first PC LAN, I brought my PC over, and I was all Counter-Strike and Call of Duty. That's all I played. And my buddy was like, "Hey, we're gonna play some Dota." This was like Warcraft 3 Dota at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, A, I never even touched Warcraft 3, and B, I never heard of Dota. Like I have no idea. Like Dota, is that a word? What are you saying right now? Little did I know.
Wish you played.
Little did I know. I wish I would have just played Dota with him. So might have had a different course in life. But so Age of Empires, mine was Vector Man. Another one that I think it's not on my list. I'm gonna throw out there though, and maybe I'll you know what? I'll stick with mine. NHL 94.
What are you going to say? I want to know what you were going to say now.
I was gonna say Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Lord, dude, we were on different pages as kids.
Roller Coaster Tycoon was that the cheat codes that you could do on there to get the infinite money, sending the people like you create a roller coaster and then delete like the edge so they would go flying off. Hours doing that.
That would be one of those games where I played it fresh every time I played it. Like I never really
100%.
saved it, expanded
Again,
on
it's one of those where it's like as a kid, you looking back on it, you're like, I really just turned that game on, entered in 1,000 different cheats to get infinite money, and then I just killed people. And that's all we did. Like I never once played that game the way they intended it to be played whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't play those a ton, honestly. Like I remember playing them, but not enough to like remember.
Oh no, those are like, again, I'm thinking early on, right? Like
Yeah,
this is 8 years old, 9, 10, before the competitive gene kicked in.
yeah,
Because once
yeah.
that kicked in,
The
I
games change.
promise you, I did not touch Roller Coaster Tycoon or Sims or anything. Once I got a taste of the juice of the winning and losing, it completely changed. But that was one. For me, another big one was NHL 94. I felt like that changed the map.
That was like, that'll be on a ton of people's list. It could have
Yeah,
even been on my list. It was such an amazing game. Like it felt so good to play. We played that hours and hours, and we would go play hockey outside, and then go into the garage and go play that. And this is like garage in Texas in summer,
yeah.
where we were just balls hot and just sitting there playing this game over and over. NHL '94 was a true classic. The NHL, these types of games are probably also what spiked our competitiveness in the sense of like the gaming side, because that had a true winner and loser every time you played.
Right.
Any game you played, whether it was the old other sports games from Maddens to all that type of stuff, like that probably sparked a highly competitive side of gaming to us that I don't know where we would have got that otherwise until games like the Halos and all that, came out. For me, a big one was the first Rainbow Six. Like the first Rainbow Six was the first competitive PC shooter that I played. Same people I'm playing with today in real life as what I grew up playing Rainbow Six with, and looking back at how
I was actually a professional semi-pro in Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2.
that's crazy. Imagine if you started playing when I started playing it. You would have been probably professional till this day.
I probably would have been like 4 years old as well. So
yeah, you really would have been. Go back and look at the graphics. For those of you that don't know that the original Rainbow Six, go back and look at the graphics for this game. Straight trash, but it was an awesome tactical shooter game. I remember loving it. Was the MP5 was like my go-to gun in that game. But man, the graphics were horrible. But it found an itch for FPS shooters. Honorable mention here for FPS shooter for me, Tim. I have to throw it out. Tribes 2. Because Tribes 2 was the one I was thinking about putting on this list versus Rainbow. But man, Tribes 2 was more the Unreal Tournament style, arcade shooter type feeling. But another awesome game.
It's weird because like when you bring some of these games back, I remember the first time that I heard of them. Like, I remember Rainbow Six. My buddy in St. Louis had it for his Nintendo 64, and, like, we went and played it, right? And it was like, Rainbow Six. He's like, oh, have you ever played Rainbow Six? And we're like, I've never heard of it. Like, what is this game you hear of Rainbow Six, right? It's so funny how it's like now you look at it and it's just crazy.
Who's this Tom Clancy?
Yeah, what is this Tom Clancy guy? What has he ever done? Is it also weird? And I feel like it's almost like I should go and try to find the game again. I've never played Tribes.
Oh man,
is that not weird?
So Tribes has come out with other games since then. So at least there's like more recent type of games. Like Tribes Ascended came out in like 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. So they've had games since then, but it never really. Tribes 2 was kind of the ultimate in my mind for the Tribes era. It was really. It was ahead of its time in that sense. It was a very different game, and it was a lot of fun. Like it was a addicting game that we couldn't get enough of at the time.
Yeah, I don't know why. I would have to look to see what other games were out around that time. It was probably like Unreal or something caught my attention more. I don't know what was in that wheelhouse, but never. My group of friends and I never got into that.
What? Tribes 2 came out 2001. So I was like 15, 16 years old when Tribes 2 came out. They had a Tribes prior to that, but this was kind of the one that was like their end all be all. It was like their best one.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. Other game on my list. This is the first PC game that I can remember playing. And I didn't even own it. It was my buddy in Detroit that owned it. Doom. The original Doom. And I remember, and I've told this story before on the show, I remember because we both always wanted to play it, that one of us controlled the walking and then the other one controlled more of the aiming and shooting. Again, I wish I could find a partner in life that I was like on that level for. We should do that one time on a stream where like
one person aims, one person shoots.
Yes, one person controls the keyboard, the other person controls the mouse, just to see how we do. It would be entertaining for maybe 5 minutes. And then
we should do
like,
with the game like Counter-Strike for a whole match, just see how it goes, or Valorant or something.
Yeah, it would have to be something like that. But yeah, Doom was the first PC game that I remember playing.
Doom scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Oh,
like,
terrifying.
It was such a terrifying game playing, but it was so much fun. And mine is, again, probably just because of our age difference. I'll kind of skip to this one. Then also, one of the first games I really remember playing on PC was Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein, you're going through like the Nazi bunkers and like
Mecha Hitler.
Yeah, it was just such an awesome game, and those games were, again, like just innovators, and it's I'm happy that these are some of the games that I grew up on, because I've really seen like this crazy evolution, and you almost appreciate it that much more looking at like where we were at that time. It's really something else. But Wolfenstein will always hold a special place because I'm happy, first of all, my parents let me play it. They probably didn't know what the hell I was playing.
Yeah, probably more so that.
Yeah, I mean, probably definitely more than that, but it was that's always gonna have a special place there.
You want to talk about a game that has shaped the way I do FPS? Return of Castle Wolfenstein on the original Xbox. That was like the first game that I remember playing, like truly on a competitive level. Like the boys got together, we did teams online, and we competed. That was legit.
Can I tell you something? So Wolfenstein was the last Wolfenstein I've played. No joke.
Well, now they only do single player, which is still fun. Like, it's still great.
But they've had like a couple of them now.
But Return to Castle Wolfenstein on Xbox, they even actually did a tournament for it at Quake. They always do a Return to Castle Wolfenstein tournament on Quake for PC. Another level. Like, it was just one of the greatest games I've ever played to this day. And it might be more nostalgia, but I don't care. It was great.
You talk about that being a game that brought you into the competitive level. I'm going to throw just another honorable mention that we didn't list on here that's now coming to me is SOCOM. Like SOCOM, when that came out, the fact that it had like voice chat and the way that like you had to kind of coordinate with your teammates, that was kind of like Call of Duty before, kind of Call of Duty what it is now, I guess you could say. But that was also a special one because it kind of just took us to that next level of competitive gaming.
Another one, never played.
Never played SOCOM?
Never played SOCOM.
Yep. You were a console guy too. I'm surprised.
I was an Xbox guy.
Yeah,
that's why. SOCOM was PlayStation.
It wasn't on Xbox. I didn't know.
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Crossplay anyway. If it was there, so
right?
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, we had a PlayStation, but it was like, when it came to like FPS things like that, we were more of Xbox for sure.
My last one, Tim, I had to put a console game on here, and I fought really between two of them really bad to figure out where I should go. I'm going to give you my honorable mention first because it's still a classic till this day. I think we could go back and play it right now and probably enjoy it as much as we did. And that's Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2, like Street Fighter Turbo, like all of these games were just addicting at the time. They were so different and they were so much fun. Graphically, they really stood the test of time because, like I said, you could probably go back.
Yeah.
And if you have the right type of TV, it's still going to look like a good game to play. And it was like, very responsive at the time for a game. Really what you were doing on the D-pad was happening right there in front of you. You didn't worry about like lag and things like that. But the game I ended up going with as my top 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I'm going to go with Turtles in Time, although the one on NES I really grew up with. Like that was more my growing up with playing on the NES. But the SNES version, Turtles in Time, because I owned the SNES, all my friends owned the NES, I put in so much time. I thought Bowser, not Bowser, I thought, what's his name? Now I'm drawing a blank on the name. No, it was the Brain. Drawing a blank on the Brain's name. Anyways, I mean, like, these maps, when you fought Shredder, you had to throw the guys at him and things like all these. Yeah, yeah. Like that game was just such a classic, and it was so good. SNES gave you that 3D kind of feel to a game, and I still want the damn. I've been trying to convince my wife, I shit you not, for like the last month to let me buy the arcade cabinet because I want to throw it in this corner
They have it
over
too.
here.
They have
Huh?
it. They have
Yeah.
them too.
It looks really good. It's by Arcade One Up.
Yep.
It's like $400. I've been trying to convince her. Let me get rid of this
I'll
little.
just do it. Put your
I
foot
need
down.
to.
Put your foot
Can I
down.
give you the money and you say you bought it for me?
Yeah.
Like with company money or
Yeah.
something? I'll give you the money. You say you bought it for me for the stream room, and I'm going to throw it in the corner over here.
That was a really good one. I remember that and the Simpsons one, which was very similar.
Dude, that was awesome. The Simpsons one was a great game.
Simpsons was great. Arcade one. What was I always forget the name of it, but it's a arcade one, and you were at Cowboys. That was also a great one. I forget the name.
The X-Men game.
X-Men.
Used
The
to have
Batman on Sega.
Yeah.
For about the movie, that one was great. But yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, you know what's a good game? So my last on my list was COD, because the first Call of Duty, the very first one on PC, really kind of changed my PC style of gaming. But I will say Rampage also. The game Rampage was always a classic to go back to as well. So that's tough. If you had to put me like my fourth game, like that one's probably interchangeable. Like at any moment. Like you said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I was like, oh, that's a good one.
You're right. Like when I say what I've grown up, but I grew up here. I grew up on a lot of games.
Yeah.
There's games that we don't have the time to like dive into, but like your Twisted Metals. There was the South Park game where you were kind of like on go-karts and you fought each other,
SSX, the snowboarding game.
Yeah, like
again,
talk about the Tony Hawk games, just playing the skateboarding, style games back then. I mean, there's just so many games that we got a chance. I didn't even mention MMOs, Tim. Like I grew up on EverQuest, and I really grew up in Warcraft. Like EverQuest was my junior high school time, and then EverQuest came towards end of like high school into college, and it was just like, these games we played so much, but it's kind of already grown up then. But
yeah.
we put in GoldenEye.
Perfect Dark.
Talk about the times we played GoldenEye. How often were you in a room with your buddies fighting over who's going to play Odd Job? Like it was. There's so many games that kind of influenced us, and it's really hard. I mean, it is hard to pick four.
Yeah.
If you ask me next week, I honestly might not even give you any of these four because I've forgotten. I'll be thinking
100%.
of something else at the time.
Like I said, it's like I remember, like I had my list as an honorable mention was NASCAR on Nintendo 64. I remember we owned it, and we just, and again, in one of those games, I don't remember playing the game. I remember going backwards and just trying to hit people. That's it. That's all I remember. There might have been a few times that we tried to legit race, but for the most part, it was just me trying to wreck my brothers playing NASCAR. It's like it just, that really kind of morphed my mind on the sports side in life, right? With Jeff Gordon, and you learn all the names on there, and
yep.
It's crazy how that works out. And like you said, like when it comes to like the original Xbox, I felt like it almost wasn't even fair to bring up like Halo and things like that, because it's just a different time in life, right? That's when you knew better and you played games with a purpose. I think more back towards the games where it was just like, I never knew that there was an end to a game because I never got to it and I never tried. And to be honest, I never even cared. I just played the same 5 levels of The Lion King 1,000 times and I was good.
It was like a different way of enjoying games because you didn't have the choices we have today. You can't get on Steam and every other client that we have on our PC and see 500 games ranging from $1 to $60. Like you bought a game and you were kind of invested in games back then, on NES, like, Tecmo Bowl, like that game
right.
on NES, we played that forever. And it was because we couldn't get 10 games to play and choose from. Like you bought a game and you were playing these games.
I remember trading games with friends.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'll give you this if you let me borrow that. And you would just borrow that game for, 2 weeks or whatever to play it. And it was awesome. But it's completely different.
I actually grew up on Atari. And I can't tell you games that I played on there. I know the ones that I played, like the racing game where just the background
Right.
change or the foreground change, and you were just kind of moving in your F1 car
Yeah, I
everywhere. I
remember
mean,
playing that at the pizza shop and an arcade, things like that. But it's it takes you back. It takes you back. I've been on the fence for a long time about buying like a Sega Genesis or a SNES.
buy those compact versions and just play a couple of the ones that they give you for free. It kind of
Yeah,
scratches the itch a little bit.
I know, but I want the itch to be real.
Yeah.
It's like I want to play. I want the cartridge. That's what I want. I want a cartridge. I want to feel the click when you push it
The
in.
shit's expensive though. Go buy a
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles game. Like they are expensive.
They're not
None
like
of
you're
these
like,
are,
oh, this game will
cheap
be like
games.
$10. No, the game's like $50. They hold value.
Yeah, in some cases like $200
Yeah.
depending on the game that you want. I gave away my SNES and all my games to I remember our cleaning lady at the time. She didn't have a system and we had upgraded to N64.
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh,
I
I'm not
don't
gonna play
like
this."
I don't like to think about it because even like my Nintendo 64 and GameCube, I remember being like, oh well, the Wii's coming out. I guess we'll sell this to GameStop because what else am I gonna do with it? And now I'm
For
just
$10.
like why? Why did we not know any better to hold on to it? Because in 15 years, it's like you'll want to play those games again. All those
I don't
games that
know
you're
if
paying.
will our kids like is this advice we would give them? Like hang on to your PS5 because you're gonna want to go back and play PS5 games.
I don't know.
Like,
It's
you think it'll be the
I
same?
feel like those are just so, like you said, it's so different. Like
yeah,
it's not simple like it was back then. But I don't know. I would love to talk to someone 10 years younger than us to be like, all right, like what games? It's like, oh man, I remember my first game. It was, whatever.
is that a game that you like itch to go back and play? How accessible is the like? I feel like a lot of these games became digital, right? So you have
Yeah.
the ability to go back and like download and watch these, play these games, and so yeah, it's just different. I think for
Yeah.
every generation, but yeah, ours was really unique. Platformers and all that, like these games just don't come out the way they did.
Well,
they're
it's like
just-
the
they're
judgment
just
was so
built
different on those, right? Like what's up, Hagish and Twitch chat? How's it going, man? It was just so different back in the day where it was like I said, I don't want to say the standards were lower, but they sort of were. Like now you judge a game so hard, right? Oh, this background image was blurry, and oh, why can't you get this to be 1,000 FPS? Why do I have to play at 59? Right? It's not even 60, and the story.
We're
Like,
even playing at them. I don't even know what the FPS
Yeah,
would
like,
have been
oh,
on
this-
some of those games,
this
dude.
story didn't make any sense and things like that. Back then, you didn't have to worry about any of it. It was pure. I feel like we're a bunch of boomers talking about the good old days, but it was different. I would love to talk.
I knew this segment would do this to us, though.
I know. After this, I'm gonna go watch TV with my wife. I'm gonna get my laptop. I'm gonna go on eBay. I'm gonna look for a SNES and Sega Genesis. I'm gonna look for a CRTV. I'm gonna plug that bad boy in the back here, and it'll be in the background of the stream. Like I just know that that's what I'm gonna do because I don't know. The good old
Shout
days.
out is Hagish from Bahrain. I used to have a bunch of like roommates or like friends in college, I should say, not roommates, basically lived with us, all from Bahrain, and so it kind of takes me back to now we're talking about the good old times.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of friends from Bahrain. It's pretty random.
And that's completely different, right? You want to talk about high school days, college days? That's a whole nother.
Oh,
subject.
it's a whole other world.
That's
But that was like sports games era.
that
for
was
me and
Madden.
Mark.
That was Halo. That was
Yep.
that's where you introduce shit talking.
It's where shit talking became real.
Yeah.
Real. Hard to yell in your parents' house.
I
some
remember
of the
one
things that
time-
we said face to face.
I remember one time I was playing Halo and I just fucking yelled the F word so loud, and my mom yelled up from downstairs and she was like, "Timothy." I was like, "What, Mom? I'm playing Halo." And she was like, "Oh, okay." Like it justified it. Like, "Oh, I thought something was wrong. You're just playing Halo? Okay. I'll leave you
If
alone."
I yelled the F word in my house, dude, my dad would have been upstairs in 5 seconds. I would have been in trouble.
I think my parents
I
gave
would have
up.
been in trouble.
I think they gave up pretty quick. I think we were pretty
You had
clean.
older brothers to kind of pay, like, or you had an older brother to kind of pave the way for you.
Yeah,
I
but
was
he's
the
only
first
like
one.
a year older.
still cussing before you, still cussing a year before you.
I don't know. I probably broke that seal before my older brother.
You think so?
Yeah, probably. But I would say I'm more of a multiplayer than him. My older brother's a single player game. He doesn't venture into multiplayer a whole lot.
He's cursing at the TV where you're cursing at other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I learned a lot colorful language compared to him. So, but, that's for another day. We'll talk about those games. But as far as like games that I would say I grew up here, I would, Vector Man. I would say anything like N64 and before. If it was after the N64, GameCube, things like that, I would say maybe getting a little bit too close to like 13 years old where I'm like, But N64, you could pretty much say any game. And I'd probably do it. But so good stuff. Anything else? Any other honorable mentions you can think of?
I'm going to go back and look like you.
Like I said,
I start searching for things now.
Oh, another one, Rogue Squadron. The Rogue Squadron games for the N64 and things like that. There's so many games I'm going to feel bad. Star Fox, the Marios, right?
Yeah.
It's just that's another one. Like I can't tell you how many times I like probably played the first level of Mario. Like, oh my God, Duck Hunt. Yeah. Duck Hunt was probably the first game where me and my brothers compared our high scores for.
Super Mario World on SNES.
Yep.
Bro, played that game a trillion times.
It was also funny because that was before internet, right? So you didn't hear all the games. You would go to your buddy's house and you'd be like, hey, I got this new game and it's whatever. And you're like, whoa, I've never even heard of this. Like, what is it about? And you played it and it was all new. There was no outside
reviews. What did new games
reviews.
cost back then? Do you remember?
No, you think I paid for it? I didn't pay for it. I have to ask my parents. I wouldn't have paid for it.
Somewhere around there.
Probably somewhere around there. So, anyways, good walk down memory lane. I'm gonna have to go and look for some of these at least.
We're both you're about to see a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles freaking arcade deck back here, and
Yep. We just got in trouble with our wives for sure. All right, let's get into some e-news, knock out some esports news after all. With CSGO, the 8 ESL Pro League Season 12 Europe teams will fight it out in a double elimination best of 3 bracket, which will conclude in a best of 5 grand finals. And of course, that is all starting September 29th, so here in about a week.
Does that not sound miserable a little bit to you?
All these
best
online tournaments sound miserable.
Double elimination. Look, best of 5 grand final.
It was
funny. Make a single limb.
I remember at the start of Corona. Don't you guys remember that? 6 months ago when this was supposed to last 2 weeks. And Richard Lewis, I think it was Richard Lewis. Apologize, Richard, if it wasn't you. And he said, like, in a time where players have the most free time. Right? It wasn't him when Astralis ended up taking a break. Like, Glaive ended up saying, hey, I'm going to take a couple months off. And I think it was Richard Lewis who said, like, in a time where players have the most free time ever. And I was like, hey, pump the brakes there. I don't think that's true. And then all of a sudden, now the stories are coming out like, dude, these players are getting worked with these online tournament organizers. Like,
this is just a brutal bracket to me, though. I think a best of 3 should just be single elimination. At that, but yeah, you have double elimination, best of 3s, and then a best of 5 grand final that no one's gonna watch all 5 matches if it goes that deep because it's 12 hours of CS in a day. Like, not that people don't want to, it's just a lot to have to do.
Yep. So we'll break down the matches for that though, probably in the next coming episode since we got a little bit to get to on that. Cloud9 end up signing 2 new roster members as Waxic and Mezzi. Is that how you say his name? Mezzi?
Yeah, Mezzi. Mezzi, up-and-coming UK star. We'll talk about him on a future episode, kind of once they finalize.
Yeah, we're waiting for Cloud9 to get everyone signed. There's no point in talking about
interesting signing for sure. Like, there's ties between him and Alex, and then Waxic, obviously, coming from Mouse Sports. Second opportunity.
Let me tell you, can I just say one thing about Mezzi? Because, I had some people, obviously, listeners and stuff in Discord saying, like, oh, how do you feel about the signing? Like, ooh, well, should we be excited? What's going on here? I'm a man of the people, Anuj. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I don't need to save face. I don't know anything about the guy. Like, I know that, he played on Legion and things like that. But if you're asking me for like, oh, what type of player is he? How's he going to fit in with the roster? Look, I have a rule of thumb in esports. And if you don't have a picture on Liquipedia, it's all up in the air. It could be great. He could be the next Simple for all I know, or he could be the next guy you see in the Mountain Dew League. Like, this could go either way.
You're right, because you wouldn't watch a lot of his Pro League matches, right, on Gamer Legion.
No.
You wouldn't watch any of those. And the problem is he also wasn't an FPL like Pro League, so you wouldn't see him on like popular streams playing against pros either. Like, he was playing in a lower FPL league, unlike Rops, or Stewie, who were kind of in these big game type matchups where you watch them prior to going pro. You wouldn't know a lot about him unless you followed CS closely.
I call this the Henry G effect, where because it's Henry G making these signings, you have a lot of figureheads in Counter-Strike going like, whoa, this is a huge signing. Cloud9 has definitely improved. And it's only because their buddy Henry G is now the one doing the signings, to where if this was prior, you would have people going like, what the hell is Cloud9 doing? Like, this is who you're going to sign? Good luck. But because it's their boy, oh, this is the next greatest thing.
I think it's also in combination with what they've announced, though, right? Like, Alex and Woxic are both,
again,
star player potential.
As a Cloud9 fan, you can only go up. So I am willing to try anything.
This is looking to be something cool, though. Again, this will be a whole episode once this roster is signed, or at least a whole segment, right? So we'll dive into it. It's cool because we got contract information and all this other fun stuff we'll get into.
Yep. OC and Floppy rejected Cloud9's offer to stay on the team because they enjoyed playing with each other.
Not
like on Counter-Strike.
And their previous teammates. Yeah, that was interesting because looking at the roster, I think maybe this is a good thing for C9 fans that they opted out, because I think if you had the three that have been announced plus OC and Floppy, there may be, I would still feel a little discomfort going into the next season of like, what do we really have
fresh.
Here, so.
Start it fresh.
Yeah.
G2 and FaZe in talks of a possible buyout for Nico. The price on that.
Like, it'd be cool if it happened because he's playing with his cousin then.
Cousin Nico.
I just don't know, like, if you're Coldzera or KRB, like, what's going through your mind right now?
Are we going to get a cut of that buyout?
Especially like Cold. Like, I mean, it would be incredibly frustrating. But this FaZe roster has so many problems. I feel like a choke artist for even saying this team had a chance to possibly compete for a major with the people that they were signing. Like,
I think I was the one on the show who said no.
Yeah, they haven't been able to figure it out. And I think Alex would have been the right signing for that roster, honestly. But yeah, it's not surprising that they may be making a change. No. It just hasn't worked out, and they're paying a lot of money.
And speaking of G2, their owner, Carlos, says in an interview with ESPN Esports that he believes Valorant will overtake CSGO as a top FPS one day. Bold prediction there, Carlos.
He's so closely tied to League of Legends and all that. Like, I mean, it's not unrealistic to think that it couldn't happen.
I'm pretty sure we've been talking about it for like the last 4 months, that it's very well possible.
Hear it from somebody like him, a little different, because he's also got, it's not like he's got a Counter-Strike team that's not competing at a high level. He's got a top 5 ranked team in the world, pretty consistently. So, and now we've probably got the best, definitely the best EU team, possibly the best team in Valorant, there on G2 as well. So look, it's spicy. It's a spicy comment.
Yep. I would love to see what other people are saying about it, because I bet you some people are just so in denial about it. Well, what does Carlos know? In COD news, Clayster ends up officially signing with New York, which I think we predicted that back when he was released from Dallas. We said New York would be the best fit, so nothing we didn't already know. Good to know, though. We'll get him on the show sometime. Gears of War legend Mental expected to sign with LA Gorillas as a substitute player.
quite a bit of uproar about this as it was kind of going down on Twitter. Because people were like, dude, there's like 12 pros that are losing spots and you're signing somebody from another game. But look, if the dude has the potential, we saw it with Shotzi coming from Halo. You know, we've seen it with other like newer players in the scene make a scene right away, right?
Yeah.
Like really like burst out onto the scene. But yeah, a lot of people were unhappy with this just because of the amount of pros that are currently free agents.
You know, I get it. They got to look out for their boys, but at the same time, whatever. He's a sub, guys. Chill the fuck out. Pristini, I mean, like, guys, come on, chill. He's a sub. Would you rather have your boy signed as a sub? Like, Pristini ends up getting shafted at the last second and is now officially a free agent.
They didn't like go into a ton of detail here, other than like it was people were like, "Oh, sorry, bro," and he, made his emotional kind of Twitter post, but they didn't really get into exactly what happened. But seeing what some of the pros are even saying out there, that there are going to be big names that you didn't anticipate that don't end up being on a team this year, that don't have a roster
Was he
spot somewhere.
expected to sign with someone and then didn't, or?
Yeah, like I think a team fell through that was supposed to happen, or somebody didn't want to make a change, or whatever the situation was. Something happened to where he's back out on the market, and so it'll be interesting to see who kind of gets left behind, this year. Like that, there could definitely be a couple of names that really surprised people.
And in other news, Crisis Remastered has been officially released just in time for the next gen. Talk about nostalgia games. That Crisis used to be the pinnacle of can your PC run it game.
If your PC could run Crisis, you had a good PC.
Yeah.
It was just a given. Like if you could run Crisis, you had a pretty damn good PC. It's funny just because you were going into the nostalgia. I saw this and I was like, let's throw this little note out there. But yeah, it's funny. It's a remastered version. I went and looked at some gameplay and I'm like, yeah, this is not testing anybody's.
No, it's remastered, not a remake. It definitely looks remastered, but there's that. Test out those new 3080 cards that people are getting nowadays. There's that for you. All right. Well, that will do it for this episode of The Center Ring, presented by altesports.com. Go check them out. We will be back. What is today? Sunday. So we'll be back Wednesday talking some possible worlds. I think we're going to get Kevin on the show, our official League of Legends correspondent, talk about some worlds coming up. We will have, stuff going on. Maybe some Call of Duty free agency, maybe some ESL Pro League. We'll debate that. In the meantime, I'm going to go buy a Sega Genesis and a CRTV. So if anyone has one, hit me up.
And you are going to buy me a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
That's right.
arcade setup.
That's right. So there's that. We'll be back, though, again Wednesday. Checking us out live on Twitch and YouTube. Our Twitter, @The Center Ring. Go ahead and follow it. On iTunes, if you listen on iTunes or have an Apple account, go ahead and leave a review. We love to read those. But that's it. That's all we got. Until next time, I'm Tim for Anuj. We love you. See you later.